and I am one of the co-owners of the Doc Bookshop. And there's Danya, she's the partner. And thank you, and we appreciate you all being here. Um, we have a very exciting author with us today, and we just love him so much. And so we're so glad that he's doing his book signing here. And but before he comes up, I want to um, give a shout out to the sponsor of this event. But even before I do that, though, I want to talk to you a little bit about the Doc Bookshop for those who don't know. Who's the first time here? Oh my goodness! Thank you so much for being here. Give yourselves a hand. Thank you. I know it's not, it's a little chilly out, so I'm glad you made your way through. The Doc Bookshop, we're an indie bookstore. We've been around for about 17 years. And in fact, we're going to celebrate our 17th anniversary in May. And thank you. And and so please, we just encourage you to support. Uh, we're glad you're here. And we also have a membership drive that we're doing if you're interested in becoming a member. Um, and also, we have plenty of events here at the Doc Bookshop. We love authors, we love books, so definitely go to our website and check out our website for the upcoming events. I just want to just mention two big ones that we have coming up with Dr. Kendi, Ibram Kendi. He's the author of How to Be an Anti-Racist, and he also had the anti-racist conference going on, which they don't do anymore. I figured that one out. I guess, yeah, it got rough. So anyway, he's coming, and he's going to be here. He's going to got a new book coming out called Malcolm Lives, and he's going to present that book. So we would love for you to mark your calendars for May 19th. If you could plan to be in the place here, we're going to be right here at the Doc Bookshop. We will love that, okay? And so just go to our website, thedocbookshop.com. You can follow us on all socials. We're on all social media, so please, please definitely follow us. Um, Now I want to bring up Alicia. This event is sponsored by Ebonyopoly. Okay? Ebonyopoly. Let me get the game here. If you do not have this game in your house, you need to have it, okay? And we got some for sale here at the Doc Bookshop, so make sure you get your game if you do not have it. This is a must-have for all households, okay? So I'm gonna have Alicia come, and thank you, Alicia, for being here. She's one of the founders of Ebonyopoly, and she's gonna talk more.
Well, thank you. That was such a wonderful endorsement. I'm just going to sit down. No, seriously. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. This is a wonderful crowd. Look at you all. On a Sunday, this is fantastic. So, I just want to just tell you a little bit about the company. Dwayne, the author, is my business partner. So about 4 years ago, we created this game. It is more than just a Monopoly game. This is a tool that we wanted to develop to help preserve and teach African American history. So this is something that was a collaboration between the two of us, and it is intentional in the properties that are selected. There's a QR code on the back of the property cards so that you can scan it and learn about why that property is significant for Black American, or actually all Americans, because Black history is American history. Um, and so we really use this as a launching pad to preserve our history. It's beautiful because we have three foundational legs. One is, of course, to teach history. The second one is to get families back together. This is low tech. Everybody wants to know, why didn't you guys make this electronic? Well, because it forces people to put their phones down, look at one another, talk, share. And so we are intentional about that. And then the third aspect is to teach financial literacy. So just to know that this is wonderful for us to sponsor this event, because marriages is foundational to families. So of course we wanted to be a part of Dr. Washington's book signing. You are in for a treat. He's captivating in his presentation. And so with that, I just want to thank you all for coming. And I'm going to pass it to Donna, who is going to continue to host our event.
You both can kind of introduce Dewayne.
Okay.
You know, I guess we could take turns.
All right.
Okay, I'll start off because there's so much about my dear brother here. I don't have his bio in front of me because he has done a whole lot. It was really long, and I was not going to read all that, right? So I'm going to just mention some things I love about Dewayne. First, of course, he's an author. But second is that Dewayne is, he did a great thing with Gentlemen's Society, So give a hand for that. Just working with young men, that was a huge thing. And then his band, Faces Band. So, he got a lot. And what else you do? A whole bunch.
I can fill in. So my brother is a serial entrepreneur.
That's the word. That's the word.
So he starts businesses, builds businesses, supports businesses like we sleep. Okay, yeah. He's always up. You name it, website development, filmography. He's got a studio, media studio. And he is creative in his approach. During COVID, when there wasn't a lot of filmmaking going on, he's partnered with funerals to preserve and present those online memories. Mm-hmm. So let me see. He's a technical genius, a husband to one.
A wonderful husband, yes.
For over 75 years, he's got.
They are the cutest couple ever.
5 wonderful kids that are in the business. That have
family
man. I mean, he's a counselor. He's a pastor.
Yes.
He married us.
A mentor to many.
Yes.
The cousin. So we could go on and on, but without further ado. He did that too, yes. Yeah, actually, it's so funny because we were on our way to ABA, American Booksellers Convention, and I just told him about it. He said, "Okay, I'm coming." I'm like, "What you mean you coming? You're not a bookseller." He's like, "But no, that's my group. I'm coming." And I didn't believe him. I did not believe him. And when I got there, and I got this text saying, "Where are you guys?" I'm like, "Are you here?" Like. We were in Denver. Like, he came to Denver to join us at the American Booksellers Conference. And he was so well received and loved. I mean, he's just a personable guy like that, though. So booksellers across the country met him, loved him. They got the Ebony game. He did great. So anyway, come on up here, Dewayne. We ain't going to talk about you no more. Come on up here.
Put your hands together for Dr. Washington.
All right. Y'all put your hands together for these ladies here. Now, enough about me. I have somebody that I want to bring on stage that came in and just for this event and is very special to me. This is the young lady who actually edited the book. She's going to interview me today. But not only did she edit the book, she's actually my high school English teacher. Y'all put your hands together for Miss Rose. Polly in the house. Come right on up and have a seat. We're going to start this conversation. This is going to be good. I don't know what she's going to say either, so I don't know. Now, I'm not saying I was the best student, but hopefully I wasn't the worst student that you had. If I was, don't tell me. It's okay. It's all right. And thank you guys for being here. Give yourselves a hand. This is a good crowd here. Thank you so much. We do want to welcome our online guests as well. Thank you for being here today. We want to remind you that you can be part of the conversation. So there's a link that you can click on. You can talk or you can put messages in, and we'll be able to get those questions answered right here. Miss Rose, how are you doing today?
I'm just fine.
She came all the way in from Houston, Texas. All the way from Houston, Texas. Okay. All right. So should I start or should you start?
I'll give a little background on our history. Yes, I had Dewayne as a freshman. He moved to Wyatt, but we stayed in touch over the years. And I was at his wedding Um, uh, he's helped me with some of my books because I started writing and publishing after I retired from teaching. And he told me, he gave me a call and said he wanted me to edit one of his books. Now, I was a little leery at first because I've edited for several people. And let me tell you, preachers are the worst. Because many times they are so full of themselves and so busy quoting the Bible that the book makes no sense. But his, I'm happy to say, did make some sense. It was a little out there and some things I was shocked at. And of course, I'm older. He told me to come up here and pretend that I was a 30-year-old looking for a husband. I can't do that. But I enjoyed it. It was witty. It was quick. I wasn't aware at the time that he was into marriage counseling. So I enjoyed working on it. And he came down, we hashed through some things, and the next thing I knew, the book was published. I said, oh, well.
Can't wait on it. Can't wait. Can't wait. So also we want to let you know that even while we're having this conversation, if you have questions or comments, this is a whole dynamic thing. We are one family. I got some family in the house. Make some noise, family. I got family in the crib. So, you know, if y'all get to acting up, I got some help. Okay. All right, I'm not used to being in the hot seat, but I'm in the hot seat today. So, Miss Rose, take it away.
Okay. Tell me about your book. How did you come up with the idea?
So that's actually pretty simple. So I've been a marriage trainer and counselor now for over 20 years. And after doing this for so long, you start seeing, you know, the same things show up. Mm-hmm. And one of the things, the things that would show up is people not being able to be on the same page and not really understanding each other. And while from a man's perspective, I did end up telling the men a lot of the same things, but it kind of really depended on who they were with. Now, I'm gonna throw married men. Raise your hand. Let me see. Okay, all right. I'm gonna give you this one because we're talking to the ladies today, but I'm gonna give you this one. So, you know how your lovely bride will come to you with a problem and you want to solve it. She does not want you to solve it. Amen, ladies? She don't want you to solve it. I know you can solve it, Pastor Jeff. I know you got all the answers. And she knows that. She does not want you to solve the problem. She wants you to listen to it. Now, I'm going to give you a hint. A lot of times the problem that she brings you is not really the problem she's really having. And so for men, I tell men it's almost like a plane is hovering above an airport. And when she brings you the problem, you're looking at the problem while she's in the air, but the problem is really on the ground. And you got to wait till she lands that plane before you even start knowing what problem to deal with. So she may bring you how horrible of a day she had at work, but maybe her real issue is she really too old to have a baby now? Which has nothing to do with the time she had at work, right? And here's one more. I'm talking to my guys. You're hungry, your wife is hungry. And you turn to her and you say, babe, what do you want to eat? What did she say, guys?
I don't know.
I'm out. Then she'll say, oh, whatever you pick. Then Neil will say, hey, let's get tacos. Ah, well, Letty says we had tacos last night. Okay, no problem. Let's get some pizza. Nah, I don't really want pizza. Okay, well, let's try some Mexican food. Nah, I'm not really feeling Mexican food. Well, what do you want? Well, with anything you pick. Okay, guys, here's what she really means. She thinks you really know her and love her and understand all of these things already. You know we had tacos yesterday. You know I probably am not feeling pizza. You know I probably don't want chicken. Now, truth be told, you don't know. You have no idea. You don't know what color your shoes are right now. But she actually thinks she does, and that's why she doesn't go through all that. She figures you have it figured out. So anyway, just a few things from a male perspective. Now, on the other side, when talking to women, men are very consistent, right? They're really consistent. Even when they mess up in consistent ways, right? It's like very predictable, right? If she's mad at you, it's one of three things, right? And so it dawned on me that a lot of times wives actually thought men thought like they did. Men pretty much know this woman does not think like I am not on this level. She can outthink me a million times. And the wife actually thinks the man is complicated. That man is not complicated.
Kind of like men are from Mars, women from Venus.
Exactly. And so what I wanted to do is kind of boil down these 20 years into something that was smaller, that was palatable, because the other thing is, we're joking, but not having good marriages causes a lot of other issues.
Oh, yeah.
Matter of fact, I mean, I can tell you that in some cases, this might seem extreme, but in some cases, our prisons are filling up because our courthouses and our churches are not. And so I can, I don't know if we'll have time, but if we do, I can show you a direct correlation with a young gentleman that's in prison right now for murder, right? But it all started because of his inability to be able to make a relationship work, right? He didn't murder any woman, like I'm just to let you know. But not having that, it causes housing shortages. You got a bunch of people that should be together, but now, we need 2 refrigerators and 2 houses and 2 apartments because, we can't be together. Right? And so I wanted to create something that was fun, that was light, but also gave the advice to my sisters out here to say, hey, here's how to deal with this, crazy dude. Here's how to understand him.
Let's start with the title.
Yes.
I love a good metaphor.
3-piece. Okay. Now, first of all, let me give a shout out to my cover designer. She did a phenomenal job because the cover actually gives away the entire book. Now, the title is called Men Want a 3-Piece, The Ultimate Guide to Understanding Your Man. The very first piece sign, is peace in your household, right? You want peace. You want a peaceful household. You want to come home not to chaos. You want to come home to peace. Amen? Neil said, that's right. The second kind of piece of chicken, as we see over there today. Let's shout out to our caterer today. Proverbs 31:31. What's the name of it? Fruit of our hands. You go look at Proverbs 31 and 31. You'll see the fruit of our hands. Was that food good to you? Y'all take some home before I take it all home. Amen. Piece of chicken, something to eat. Amen, men. You want something to eat. And the third piece is a piece of something else. You don't want a piece of something else. So all men want a 3-piece. Amen, men? So the cover gives it away. And so when I look at what are boiling down to what is the bare minimum that you could do for a man to understand him better and probably keep him happy in a very, very simplistic way. And so that's where that came from. Got to grab the mic. So I can hear you.
Can you elaborate on how these work in a marriage situation?
Absolutely. So when we talk about peace, and if you say, well, what is peace? Think about the other side of it is chaos. Yeah. So I think that a lot of bars have been able to stay open, especially during happy hour, because of chaos at home. Because that guy is like halfway home. It's like, man, I don't want to go home. Let me stop at the bar. Let me circle around the block a couple of times. Do you know how many men I've talked to that have been in their car, in the garage, or in front of the house? Where you at, man? I'm at the house. In front of the house. I ain't went in yet. Been sitting outside in this car for 30 minutes. I don't even want to go in and face this. Now, compare and contrast this. I remember one time, and Alicia said, I've been married for 175 years. I've been married a long time. And I remember years and years ago, this is probably over 23, 24 years ago. And maybe you've had this experience. You're on the way home, or like you've been arguing with your wife all day, and you're on the way to the house, and you already know. When you get to the house, it's going to be on. You're going to be arguing when you get there. And I got to the house. There was no argument. I opened the door. This woman had laid out rose petals from the door all the way in to the bathtub that was running. The tub we had jets in the tub. It was running in there. And so I'm walking. Now, mind you, I came home ready. Because, you thinking of all the stuff you going to say and all that kind of stuff, I'm going to tell her this. And when she says this, I'm going to go to here. And I'm going to, you ready. I had a long drive. I was ready. I got to the house. I'm walking through. She ain't even up. She in there asleep. Okay? I walked in there. I got in the tub. And then she had the nerve to have all of these signs all around. You're a great man. You're a great provider. I love you so much. So I'm sitting in the tub just like, man, I need to do better. I need, you know what I'm saying? What was that? That was implementing peace at the house. I know she was mad at me before she went to sleep. I know. She had to be. She had to be. But she said, you know what? I'm going to implement peace in the house. And there was no issue. There was no problem. I don't even remember what we were arguing about. It doesn't matter because the argument never happened again because it was peace in the house. Y'all say peace in the house. Peace in the house, right? And like I said, I've been doing this for so long, and you start seeing all sides. I'm telling you, you start seeing. We had this conversation on the book. So there's a couple of young ladies that I bring up throughout this book. And so I had made a statement in the book that if you were going to talk to a stripper, ask her, has a man ever paid you to go in a VIP room just to listen, right? And your response was, of course not. That would never happen. I'm like, go talk to a stripper. Because you'll find that has absolutely happened. And a lot, don't say it too loud now. Don't say it too loud now. Don't say it too loud. We are filming, though. But you'll find, you'll find that you'll talk to one of these young ladies, and she might have a regular that she knows more about their household than the wife does, because she's listening. And without judgment, she just sits there and listens. And sometimes it's pay her just to listen. Now, I'm not saying this all the time. I'm not even saying this majority of the time, but I'm just saying it happens, right? It happens because peace was there. Now, this is an interesting one. We talk about a piece of chicken, of course, something to eat, basically. Now, a lot of times people get confused because they will say, well, I'm not a great cook or anything like that. Men are so simple, you don't even have to cook it. You can bring the man the plate. Amen, men? You could have I know a woman is so funny. This is so funny. Her man swears she's the best cook ever. This woman can't cook nothing. She can't boil water. What she does almost every day, she'll roll out and she'll buy, the stuff to eat. But she'll take it out the boxes and everything, and she'll set it up like she cooked it, and she'll throw the boxes away, and then she'll serve it, right? And he's like, oh, she's just the greatest cook. When I told her one time, I said, he probably doesn't care one way or another. He can watch you take it out the box, and he's still going to be okay, right? Just feeding that brother, right? Easy. You don't even have to cook it. Doesn't even have to be so feed him. And then this last one. We'll call it dinner. Amen? I don't know who's watching online, so we'll just call it dinner. Men like dinner. Men love dinner. It's dessert. Well, dessert is extra dinner. That's extra, And men, we talk about this in the book, men love dinner so much that they're willing to buy the restaurant. Say it again, men. They're willing to buy the restaurant to have dinner. And believe it or not, now this might shock some ladies, they're willing to eat at the same restaurant for the rest of their life and be okay with it. Men are so simple. Whatever a guy liked at 17, he's probably still going to like at 70. If he like foot rubs at 17, at 70, rub his feet. Long as, we don't have, situations going on with him, And so when it comes to dinner, the problem comes when he bought the restaurant, but the restaurant ain't serving dinner no more. Now, he understand this. He didn't want to buy the restaurant. He never wanted to own the restaurant. Ladies, he never oh, don't you want a restaurant? I don't. It costs a whole lot. You got to be here every day. You got to service it. You got a lot of stuff. Stuff go wrong. The air is out now. I got to fix it. Sometimes it's closed for renovation, and then we can't eat dinner. Never wanted to own the restaurant. But dinner is so good, I will buy the restaurant. Does that make sense? All right. Ladies, does that make sense to you? Okay, I just want some. B, that make sense to you? Good? Okay, cool. We got young ladies out here too. Okay. All right. Next question. Got it. Grab the mic. Grab the mic. They got to hear you online. They can't hear you.
I'm a retired high school teacher. I'm used to just yelling out with my big mouth.
Amen.
So forgive me when I forget to pick this up.
Amen.
My concern, as we talked about his book, was that he was oversimplifying the relationships between men and women. Now, you think all he needs is dinner? I think that's too simple.
So, and that's kind of the whole purpose of the book, is that men are simple. All the simple men, stand to your feet. If you're a simple man in here, stand up. Okay. Is there any man sitting down? Okay, y'all. Now, so ladies because I get this all the time, ladies like, oh, but my man is not simple. He is simple. I promise. Did we have a meeting before this and say, hey, when I say this, y'all stand up and have my back? Well, it didn't happen. What's up, man? We didn't say this. Men are just, it doesn't take a lot, right? It just doesn't take a lot. And so it's not, and so what I want to make sure of is that we're not really talking about the full relationship between men and women. That's more nuanced. But when we talk to women about, hey, do these 3 things for your guy, you're 90% the way there, right? Peace also includes things like respect, right? Listening to this dude. Let me tell you something. If you go home and tell your man, you really inspire me. I really love the way that you just operate. It makes me want to just be a better woman. I'm so proud of you. I wish y'all could see how the men are looking at me right now. It's like, that would be nice. And I'm a dude saying it during the interview. Like, do you know how much more powerful that would be if you said that in your man's, Letty, tonight? Here's how simple men are. I can tell you what to say, and he's still going to be cool with it. Like, that does sound good. Thank you. That does not work the other way. If Trey, if you say, man, just ask Letty what she want, and Letty say, you know what, I want her to be more romantic. I want her to, give me flowers. And I say, okay, Trey, I'm going to give you some flowers to give to her. You're like, no, that's not going to work. You just told him to give them to me. Not the same on the other side. I can tell him this, and he's going to be like, that's so good. He going to be on Facebook tonight. I got the best wife in the world. Look at that brother and say, you know what? I seen the house that you built, and just knowing that another family is going to be able to live out their dream because you made it happen. I'm so proud of you. Yes, boy, he about to cry right now. See how simple that is, right? It's extremely simple. And so, I tried to oversimplify it because it literally is that simple. Y'all give us way too much credit. We are not that smart. Like, we are just not. We are like basic. Like, if 317 dudes could live in this building and be happy, like, it's just 317, like, and be cool. Like, it'd just be fine. Anyway, go ahead.
Now, what about the woman that says, my man is not like that?
We just seen every man stand up here because I do hear that. And I'm going to give you a perfect example. So there are times when I will get a call from a young lady that says, hey, I want us to come in for couples counseling. But my husband doesn't agree. He doesn't want to come in. to the woman, I will say every time, come on in. If you do what I tell you to do, if you listen to me and do what I tell you to do, by the third session, he's showing up without you asking. Okay? And it never fails. If they are just, acquiesce and do what I ask them to do and say what I say, the third session, that dude is showing up. Now, I know why he's not showing up. He's not showing up because he believes that she just wants to get a cosigner for somebody else to tell him that he's wrong. And pretty much he's right, by the way. That's usually what it is. Like, oh, he's the problem. Okay, well, just do these things, right? And it works. Now, it doesn't work the other way around. If a man calls me and says, hey, I want to come in for couples counseling, but my wife doesn't want to come, there's almost nothing I can tell him that's going to guarantee that woman is going to show up on the third time, because it's just too nuanced. It's so I can't tell a man, hey, here's what's going to work. Go home and take your wife flowers. She might love it. She might look at you and say, what did you do wrong? She might say, you know I don't like roses, which he didn't, ladies. I know you told him 15 times. He wasn't listening, right? He missed that. So there's nothing I can say that's going to work 100%, right? But on the flip side, I can pretty much bet the types of things that guy is going to react to. And so, so what I wanted to do is, like I say, it is very, very simple, because it's just like men. Matter of fact, I make that quote in the very first of the book. I was like, this book is like men. It's simple, right? The things that it says do is simple. And I'm telling you, for over 20 years of experience on this stuff, it works. It works like a charm. Got to pick up the mic. Hey, hold on a second. Let me just say for a moment. Now I'm telling you what to do, just like 30 years later. Ma'am, I need you to speak in the mic.
You have a chapter on divorce, when people actually come to the point where they think that there's no return and they have to go ahead and give up.
Yeah.
How does your advice work into counseling people who say they're ready for divorce?
Most people who contact you for counseling have made up in their mind they're going to get a divorce. That is the overwhelming majority of people, right? And what they're trying to do is to check the box, right? Oh, I tried everything. That's what they want to be able to say. But they're on the way to divorce court, right? I have plenty who have actually already filed. But they're trying to say, not that they want to do the work, they just want to say, I've checked the box, right? Now, let me see. Who's been married longer than 25 years here? Okay. All right. Oh, it's good. Y'all been married? How long y'all been married? 25. That's amazing. How long y'all been married? Oh, my God. 40. Put your hands together. How long y'all been married? How long y'all been married? 43. OG's in the house. So here's and I've got, because I'm at 29, so I wanted to pick people, y'all been longer than me, right? And so y'all can attest to this if I'm telling the truth or lying. So there are marriages that get annulled after 43 days, and then there are marriages that last for 43 years, right, and 40 years and 25 years. Believe it or not, there's not a whole lot of difference in what they go through during that. I mean, you can find anybody who's been married for 43 years has went through something that somebody who's been married for 4 years went through and got a divorce, right? I can promise you. I've been doing it way too long. I promise. So when I get people in, the only difference, there's not a lot of difference in my advice, except for when there's been like breaches of trust and the whole nine, that not have expectations. Like, dude, you have 5 babies on this woman, and you expect, like, you said one right thing, and she's supposed to just do right for the rest of life. You were out all night last night, and now you expect, like, I've had that, and so I wish I was joking, but I'm not. So my other than handling those specific things, the advice is the same, because a marriage is not something that you can work on. Right? So, like, if this table broke, we can work on this table. If your pad broke, we could work on the pad. We can't work on a marriage. It's not a thing, right? A marriage is made up of 2 people. And so it's 2 people who have to work. And here's the thing. at the end of the day, you can only work on one of those, and that's you. And you're at least half the problem. So, like, just work on you. And it's not hard to do, but it's hard to do. Because when people come in for this looking at a divorce, the problem is always the other person. And the great thing about what God did is that he made us to what it's what I call the red Toyota effect. So you go out, you buy a red Toyota today, tomorrow, everybody else bought the same red Toyota, right? Because now you're focused in on that. You'll find that a lot of times, whatever your partner does, it really you hate it because you have it in you, right? We don't marry our opposite. We marry the part that we don't want to deal with, right? So if you have a woman that's very, very strong, then she sees the weak part of her as something that's undesirable, which is why she'll marry a weak person, right? If she's a very independent person, right? It's not like it's an opposite. She despises the dependent part, and that she'll go pick that up because she recognizes that in somebody else. And so a lot of it is getting people to realize themselves. And so one of the things that I'll do is I will say, give me the issues in your marriage without mentioning your partner. And you'd be surprised at how difficult people have doing it. I'm like, she just laid out 52 issues. Like you should be at least able to start with those 52, right? But to get them to look back at themselves, because if you make yourself better, everything else goes away, right? Well, not everything, but a lot of other problems go away if you just work on you, right? Me and my wife has been married for 29 years, about to be 30. She ain't never called me nothing she got to take back. She never called me out my name. She never kicked me out. She never hit me and nothing. I ain't never did nothing after her. I ain't never called her nothing in 30 years, right? Well, if I cussed her out every day, right, and then I come hollering to the counselor, she don't respect me. Well, I mean, I'm looking at the text messages. Dang, dude. Were you in the military? You know, sailor talk. You said that to her, right? And you wonder why, you have these particular types of issues. And so like I said, most of the people that come, they're actually headed toward divorce court. So the two people that come to counseling the most are those that want premarital, which that is the perfect situation because that is training on how to be married. If you go to McDonald's your first day, they're going to train you. And that's to flip burgers. So this is the most important relationship you're going to have in your life. It changes your family tree, right? So get some training on that. But training and then people who are headed toward divorce. Like those are the two biggest ones.
Can you explain the concept of the kid versus the king?
Oh, that's so good. Inside of every man, there are two males. There's a kid, irresponsible, loud, kiddish, childish, mean. And there's a king, majestic, protective, a provider. Inside of every male, there is those two. And you will have the one that talks to you will be the one you address. If you address the kid, I think I mentioned this in the book too. I was running for mayor in Arlington, and so we were knocking on some doors, right? And I will never forget, I sat out in front of a gentleman's yard for at least 30 minutes talking. Good conversation. Intelligent young man. And this girl drove up. You know how you can tell when people are mad by the way they drive up? I knew it was about to be on by the way she drove up. Whoo! She hopped out the car. I'm like, he in trouble. Back where my latchkey kids at. Back in the day when you was at the house, but you wasn't supposed to have no company over, and your mama pull up unexpectedly, and you got company over. That's what this was like. She jumped out the car, and I mean, she just went to yelling and cussing at this dude in the whole. And I'm standing there. We're in the front yard. Like there are neighbors and ring cam videos, right? Just all over the place. She's going left, finger in the face, and mind you, she's like 5 foot nothing. This dude's like 6'4", right? She's going off and telling him he ain't this and that. And I'm listening for the facts. As a counselor is kind of like a judge. There's a lot of emotion around things, and that's fine. But I want to get to like that's what we call the story, right? But what are the facts? Because we don't, we get upset about the story, but what are the facts associated with? So I'm listening to the facts. And the issue was like a non-issue. Like this was not something somebody shouldn't be arguing with, much less all of this. And she literally ushered him to the house like he was 4 years old, right? You get in the house, and rushed him in the house. I'm still standing there. Right? Oh, yeah, because I had put a sign in his yard, and I'm thinking, do I need to take it? You know what I'm saying? I don't want her to find me, So don't talk to my wife. And I remember thinking, had this thought very vividly. I fast forwarded a couple of years to when she's sitting with her girlfriends, and they're all co-signing on how horrible it is because he stepped out on the marriage and he went to somebody else, and how he's a horrible guy. Or how now she's surrounded by her girlfriends, and they talking about how horrible he is because her eye is blackened, and now he's an abuser because he decided to return one of those blows she was so liberally giving out. I remember thinking how society is going to look at this guy as, oh, he's a horrible guy. He went and had a baby on her, or he went and did this, and we can all agree those are horrible things. But no one's going to look at the root, right? No one's going to look at where it came from, and she's going to repeat that. Because I have people come to my office, been married 3, 4, 5 times, and I'm like, there is a common denominator here. You know what I'm saying? There's one thing in common with all of those people, and I'm looking at them. So when it comes to the king and the kid, you'll find that when you speak to the king, even when the king is not being kingly, when you speak to the king, you'll get a king's response. Now, one of the things that I have ladies come to me and say all the time is, I'm a queen. I want to be treated like a queen. Amen, ladies? There's only one thing that makes a queen a queen. That's her association with a king. She's either married to one or she was birthed by one. That's it. Queens don't go conquer places and become, I'm going to go kill this queen and I'm going to become the queen. That's not how that happens, right? I'm going to kill the king and I'll become king. And then I marry you and you're the queen. And so and I think I mentioned this in the book, there's a spot. You ever see that bridge in London? It's very, very familiar. Like, you probably think it's the London Bridge, but it's the Tower Bridge. And so right next to that is the Tower of London. And the Tower of London, one of the reasons why it's famous is that King Henry VIII was beheading his wives there. Okay? And he beheaded several wives because they gave him girls instead of boys. This joker didn't know how DNA stuff works. Like, dude, that's X, Y, and you give the Y. You gave her the X, bro. So he wasn't big on anatomy or something. So he was just beheading them because it was women. And the kicker, we literally stood in the place where one of them was beheaded. And I had a thought that was interesting. This dude was unmatched. No one told him to stop. No one stopped him. Nobody explained, bro, it's you. Nobody said, no, don't behead this one. No one locked him up because he started chopping off the heads of wives. You know why? Because he was the king. And they're not going to go against the king. And so one of the things that I say, not that your husband should be chopping off heads and all that kind of stuff. I'm not advocating that. But I do talk to women and say, I want you to, if you want to be the queen, that means you're married to the king. And what you're about to get ready to say, would you say it to a king? Would you say it like that to King Henry, who could take your head off? And if you wouldn't do that, then respect him more. If you wouldn't say it to your boss, don't say it to your husband. You know? Very, very simple. So whenever you speak to the king in a man, you will get the protector. You will get the provider. Whenever you speak to the kid, you're going to get a silly dude who's going to belittle you, who's going to say all kind of stuff to you. And let me tell you something. Men gravitate to women who make them feel like the king. Amen, men? Amen, married women in here? Okay.
Now, on behalf of women, and I was married 41 years before my husband passed.
Amen. 41.
I'm somehow getting the sense that you're saying when relationships don't work, it's the women's fault.
Actually, I think just the opposite. Usually it's the man's fault. Right? If your kingdom falls, I'm looking at the king first.
Yeah, but what you're saying is because the women didn't do this or the woman doesn't do that.
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying if once again, if it fails, I'm looking at the man.
Okay.
Right? Because you picked the kingdom. Right? You picked her. Right? When you get married, because that dude asked you to be married. He said, will you be? He figured that like this is the one. Well, if you pick wrong, bro, it's on you. Now, so I'm gonna tell you there's a great philosopher, Chris Rock.
All right.
He said, he said something I will never forget. And he's talking about roles. He was like, he said, if the baby can't read, that's the mama fault. If the baby can't read because there are no lights, that's the daddy fault. Right? In other words, you have a responsibility for laying when we look at, one of the things that we take men to, when we're going through counseling, is that in the Bible, Ephesians 25, 22 all the way through like 31 is a great blueprint for marriage. And Ephesians 5 and 22 will tell the woman, basically, you need to respect the man, period. And it's funny because I always start with the woman, and they'll be like, I don't know if I want to do that. Well, don't get married because that's your only job. Like that's the only thing you have to do. And then after we get through with that, then we go into the man. And this Bible says something about men toward wives that it doesn't say wives toward husbands. Mm-hmm. It says, husbands, love your wives. It does not say the opposite. And then in case you don't know what that really means, it says, love your wife like Christ loved the church. I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on a second. Most of the time, church didn't even like Christ. That's who nailed him to a cross. He was up there like, I'm dying, but, forgive them. They don't know what they do. I think they knew Jesus. I think they knew. They don't know what they do. I got to love her like that. And just in case you didn't get that part, it went on and said, and gave himself for it. I can always tell when men are paying attention because when we get to that point, if it's premarital, men will be like this. What they're saying is, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to buy this restaurant? You're saying that I'm responsible for everything in this like if the fryers go down, that's on me. If it burned down, ain't no insurance or nothing. I gotta, regardless of if I can eat dinner there or not, I still gotta keep the restaurant up. Even if the food gives me food poisoning. And so I ultimately hold men. I don't talk to men the same way I talk to women. Women cannot even be in the room when I'm talking to a dude because I'm finna talk to him all kind of crazy, right? I can't talk to, and it's funny because like if we're counseling one-on-one, women be like, oh, but you need to tell him this, and I'm like, if you only knew what I was telling him, right? Because I hold no punch because you a man. Somebody breaking the house, they shooting you first. I can't sugarcoat nothing with you, right? I gotta, because you are responsible for if your wife decides I never want to work a day in my life again, you still are responsible for this household. So I hold you. What I'm teaching women is how to get that dude to do that, right? It's not hard to get him to do it. Men are predisposed to please women. If you want to hear the number one complaint I hear from men is, man, nothing I do can make this woman happy. Y'all didn't see this, but half of the men was mouthing that with me. I ain't gonna say which half. None I do can make. What are they saying? I want to make her happy. I keep failing. I don't want to keep failing. I don't think I've ever heard a wife come and say, you know, no matter what I do, I can't make this man happy. Do that. I would, hey, do that. See what happened. Do these 3 things. So I'm not. I think that, you know, everybody plays a role. And I will say, I will step out here from doing what I've been doing for so long, the male role. If you do the male role right, it is much harder. It is much harder. Because if you do the male role right, no one else has to do a whole lot. And you got to do yours regardless. So women don't have to do this. You don't have to do none of this at all. He still has to do all the stuff he's supposed to do. Period. So, and I have to train men like, look, dude, to be a good husband and father, nothing else matters. She doesn't respect me. Don't care. Don't matter. Still got to protect and provide. It does not matter. She demeans me every day. Don't care. You must like it. You picked it. Right? I am very, very tough on men. But what I'm doing here is teaching women, because even though I'm tough on men, even though the job is harder, right? It is, like I said, if you do it right, it's going to be harder because, like, for example, men will get, like you say, your husband passed away, right? What you probably don't know is that he had that conversation with plenty of his homies. Women think men get together and talk about, like, women and stuff. You know, you get older, you're talking about insurance and knowing you're going to die first and how you're going to take care of your family when you're gone. That's stuff we talk about, right? Hey, man, so that trust that you set up, like, tell me more about that. Or this insurance, like, we talk about that kind of stuff. And then we kind of check each other, like, say, man, you know, you kind of need to do better on this, right? We ain't talking about all the other stuff, right? Stuff that you probably wouldn't think that we'd be talking about. How do I create something that's going to go beyond me so that my wife is taken care of? I want to make sure she's taken care of. And you got what, 5 boys? Four boys?
Mm-hmm.
4 boys. You know, I want to leave a legacy for them, right? I am not saying the role of a wife is easy. I'm married to one of them, and I am a lot. Amen.
No doubt.
I'm a lot. But I will say that the job of a good man is extremely difficult, and this is how you can make it easy. And if you make it easier on him, he's going to make it very much easier on you. Make sense?
It makes sense. It makes sense. Can we pause for a moment? Any questions?
Yeah, let's go out
Not
to the
just
studio,
mine.
and if we have any questions online as well, let us know. We got something? What inspired me to write this book? I want to foster healthy marriages. Is the short thing. I want to foster healthy marriages because that goes a long way towards a lot. Healthy marriages build cities, they build churches, and the whole nine. People get broke up and break up everything. Mess up cities, mess up churches, mess up everything. Questions, comments? Yeah.
I have a question. So, referencing back to where you said the boy and the king,
Uh-huh.
what if they're the same? Like, I mean, they're the same, but he's the king and he's the boy. The boy, you know what I mean?
You're talking about the male. Okay, she's asking for those online. She's asking, what if the male is both the kid and the king? He is. Every single man. Every man in here. Yeah. We can all be extremely childish and petty and hold on. Plenty of pastors here. Same. We're no different. Well, before we talk about right and wrong, right? Because we can say it's wrong to be childish and petty, right? But what I'm teaching is how do we get to that king that we all want, right? Because kings take care of stuff. Kings take care of kingdoms. Kings provide not only for their own family, right, but for other families and the whole. And whenever you can tell when the kid comes out because the kid is impulsive, right? When you are very offensive, you offend the kid, he's fighting right away. He's cussing you out right away. That's not the king, right? That the king is slower to respond, right? The king is more majestic. Does that make sense? But every dude has, and let me just tell you, I don't care who you are, that kid can come out at any, slap my wife. Watch how quick the kid comes. You know what I'm saying? Boy, I will forget pastor, doctor, but I will go straight to Wayne T from the hood. I'll forget all of those things. Straight kid. Other, you know what I'm saying? Like other things I might be able to withstand, but not everything. So like everybody still has that. And if you speak to the majestic of a man, even my wife used to tell me something. When we got married, I made $7.50 an hour. $7.50 an hour. I know you're like, that ain't a whole lot now. It wasn't a whole lot then either. And she said something that you got to be really careful because if you say it wrong, it sounds wrong. But she would always tell me, you know what? I see so much in you. I see so much more. I love it. I just see. She used to. I remember one time on the mirror, she drew like a little Superman symbol on the mirror, and I don't know how she did this, but like it would be like when I stepped into the mirror, it was perfect on my chest. I don't know how many times she had to draw it. He said we're the same height. That's an inside joke. And she drew it to where like I stepped up and man, this is how I get ready to go to work. Like I'm Superman. I don't care what you tell me. I'm Superman. I'm Teflon. Like I am super. You could have cussed me out all day at work. I get home. I'm Superman. I don't care what y'all say. She would write, and I'm telling you because this is something nobody would know, right? Other than my family, this is my house. She would write little notes and, hey, what's going on? She would write little notes on the mirror, you know, little encouraging things on the mirror, you know. That's why she ain't had to have a job in 29 years. Amen. I asked her the other day. I said, sweetie, I said we had just came back from where we go? San Juan. Okay, we just came back from San Juan, Puerto Rico about a month or so ago. I said, sweetie, where you want to go? And she said, Australia's good. I said, okay, cool. She said, you know, and there's Dubai. Yeah, let's do that too. I said, okay. She said, Panama. Yeah, let's do Panama. That's good. Some things I want to do down there. You know, we ain't been to London in a minute. You know, London, let's go there too. And I'm just listening. I'm like, what have I created? My daughters look at me and say, you did that. I look at them and say, no, she did that. She did that. Amen. Because if she wasn't speaking life into me every day, there's no way. If I had to argue with her every day, and just, have you ever had a woman you had to argue with every day? It's draining. I don't like you. It takes so much brain space that you can't concentrate on being the king. Solomon said something. He had too many women. Y'all don't have a whole lot of women. Solomon had he had more women than you will ever have. Solomon said it ain't worth it. He said, man, let me tell you something. I'd rather live on the corner of a rooftop. Not even the whole roof. He said, I would rather live on the corner of the rooftop than live in a mansion with a contentious woman. That was one. He had 900. So the opposite is the case whenever someone's speaking life into you. We had another question. Yes, sir.
I got one. So, a scenario would go like this.
Okay.
A man and a woman is divorced.
Uh-huh.
The father leaves the house, whatever.
That's what's going to happen. The daddy going to leave. He don't get the house.
So the
Got a
mother,
real good lawyer to get the house.
so the mother is raising small boys.
Uh-huh.
And then sometimes, you know, this is over years talking to people, hearing things.
Yeah.
The mother is telling that little boy probably 5, 6 years old.
Uh-huh.
Oh, you the man of the house. You the man. You know, women
Yeah.
say that a lot. And they put that in that little kid's, they put that in that kid's mind that you the man of the house. You the man. And they keep saying that.
Yeah.
They say it around women. They say it around guys. She can't even have another get into another relationship because she's so focused on this little 5-year-old boy. You the man of the house. You the man of the house, which is totally crazy.
Yeah.
And then the kid grows up, 14, 15, still a mama's boy, don't know how to cut the yard, don't know how to wash dishes, don't know how to fold his own clothes. And then later on, that booger probably do something crazy, end up behind bars.
Yeah. So one of the things that I do is I spend a lot. This sounds awful as it's getting ready to come out my face, but I spend a lot of time in prisons, right? Visiting. Yeah, I can leave. I would say I can leave whenever I want to. No, that's not how prisons work. They got to open that door for you. My mama said, boy, I worked my whole life to keep you out of prison. You get grown and then you keep going back, right? Because I was volunteer of the year in youth prisons in the state of Texas. And so I spent a lot of times. You're 100% right? Because in those kind of situations, the first authority that they hit with, and especially a male authority, is usually the police, right? So they'll go to a school. We were just in where my other cousin at? Which she here? We were just in Quita school the other day, and we were talking about how a lot of schools, they have no man presence. So they have like a lady that's a principal, a vice principal, and got lady janitors and lady coaches. And I love women. Don't get me wrong. It's not, I love women. I'm like, man, I got to have one of these for myself. Like, y'all are awesome. You know what I'm saying? But there is something to be said about male presence, right? And when you don't have it at the house, you don't have it at school, the first time you hit it is, with that type of authority, sometimes it's police and it's not good, right? Because I'm going to tell you the other thing. Like, it doesn't have to be police. They grow up and get married. Right? Then they end up in my chair because here's the woman trying to be like, I've seen so many roles reversed. Like the woman's out there working, doing her thing, killing it, and the dude is like at the house playing PlayStation, and he's okay with that because he learned at 5 it doesn't take anything to be the man of the house. It doesn't take any work. I don't have to pay a bill. They can just sit. They can just call me the man. And so then you get 35 and you get married, and that's what you expect. You just need to respect me. I'm the man of the house. You should talk right to me. Okay, well then you should pay a bill. Right? There are some. Say that again. All of them. I remember there have been several times when we have been sitting in a session, and a man say in front of his wife, man, my wife need to be more like your wife. That's what she need to be. And my wife will look at him and say, then you need to be more like my husband. He says, she got to go to work in the morning. I can sleep till I'm tired of sleeping. And does. You know what I'm saying? I can do Pilates or Pilates, whatever I want to do. I can go wherever I want to go. So if you want her to be like me, then you got to be like him. So first thing is she need to quit tomorrow and know that you got it. Check this out. So if somebody did this. Hey, sweetie, if somebody asks you about a bill, what you gonna tell them? She said, that's not my business. What you gonna say is whose business? She said, that's my husband's business. How much is the light bill? That's my husband's business. Light bill? I don't want to touch a light bill. I heard that's contagious. You might mess around and have to pay one. Get a job or something. And so the issue is that they grow up as a kid. They never come into a king, but they think they are. Right? And so you got a fat, lazy king that does, okay, we it's like we see third generation dictators. The first generation dictator, that dude earned it. I know it sounds horrible, but he earned it. He represented some people. He got an army together. He killed a whole bunch of people. He took over, right? He earned that. Third generation, born into it. Fat and lazy. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to take over anything. I can just come up with cruel rules because I want to. We have in North Korea right now, if you get arrested and thrown into prison, and it could be something so simple. They will throw you in prison. They'll throw your parents in prison, and they'll throw your kid in prison for life. If you have a kid born in prison, that stays right there for life. Why? Because you got somebody with a bunch of stupid ideas that was born into it, fat, lazy king. Kim Jong-un. Or Kim Jong-un? Yeah. And so because you didn't do anything to earn it, you don't think you need anything to keep it. Right? And so because of that, you don't do anything. Right? And so no, you shouldn't do that. And if you got a man child, make that man child work. Right? We have that argument a whole lot, like, because we have gentleman society. We got 10,000 kids in 14 different countries. Right? So we teach the young ladies, because a lot of them are single mothers, like they're 16, 17, and they don't want them to work. I'm like, no, let him work, make him work. Right? And I just want them to concentrate on school. Right? Brian, let me ask you why. Does he have a good work ethic? Okay. Watch it. We never had this conversation. When did you start working? There you go. You're not going to find anybody with a good work ethic that started working at 25. Because that's basically what you're saying. I just want him to concentrate on school, graduate school, then you go to college, get a graduate degree. He come out, he's 25, never had a job. You don't want to hire that dude, and you definitely don't want to marry him. I have those people end up in my office. They're like, man, it's so hard being a man. I gotta go to work and have a wife. Yeah. He said that's true. Okay. One more question. Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to know how your three-piece ideology fits into a man who says that men are naturally not monogamous, or just men who are unfaithful and cheat.
Okay. So she's asking questions about how does a three-piece fit into a man that's naturally not monogamous. No, I say something at the very beginning. Claims. Okay, so I'm gonna handle all of that. So, and I mentioned this at the very beginning of the book. There's a couple of things that this book is not for, right? So if you have a man that's abusive and is like physically beating you every Thursday, this go get some help, sis. This is not for you. Like, don't. This is not gonna work on that. There's a couple of reasons. There are some things that help, but this is not the one. Okay. Now, let me deal with something. Now, I will have ladies come and they'll say, well, my man he's everywhere, or he's just, I think he's a nymphomaniac or whatever, or he just wants it all the time. And I'm like, okay, well, when's the last time y'all was intimate? Well, it's been a couple of months. I equate it to being hungry. If I say I'm hungry and I don't eat today, I'm still hungry tomorrow. And I'm gonna try to say this. So with those women, I will say, here's the way to test it. Okay, when you go home, fix him dinner. Okay, before he goes to sleep. When he wakes up, give him some more dinner. Before he goes to sleep, give him some more dinner. Do that for 2 days straight. That's 4 meals. It's 4 meals. 4 meals. If he's even looking for you on the 3rd day, he might have a problem. He probably not even paying attention to you. Why? Because he's fed. He's not hungry. Now, with that being said, are there greedy brothers? Yes. Yes. A bigger issue, though, is remember what I just told, and this is a longer conversation, but remember what I told you, brothers will buy the restaurant just to have dinner, but don't want to own the restaurant. An issue is when you buy the restaurant and dinner is not being served. But they opened up a restaurant across the street and they offering you free dinner. I ain't got to buy that restaurant. They ain't asked me to put in on nothing. We got free samples. And people will say, well, but the dinner over there isn't as good, but it's ready and available. Say it again. And free. Now, you might not believe this, but like I say, men really want the same dinner, and that's God. That's how God made them. God made them actually want the same thing, period, right? You'll find that men who are, I'm going to call them players, men who are players, number one, there's some early hurt, right? Some girl that he wanted to, I only want your dinner, right? she wanted to give dinner to somebody else or something of the sort. There was a hurt there. And he's like, I'm never going to be alone again. Okay? And with those guys, you also fought. Now, how many of y'all seen the movie How to Be a Player? You ever seen that? Okay. Whoever wrote that was a player for real because they understood some fundamentals. Because one of the fundamentals are, if you notice, every woman satisfied a different piece of him. Right? That's what a player do. Because he won't have an expectation that one is going to do everything. And regardless, you can have the best woman in the world. It's still going to be an 80-20. It's 20% she ain't going to have. Right? Which is why dudes will go play off with the 20. Right? Because if the 80 turns to 20, I'm like, I'm going to go find this other 20. But I will literally eat the same dinner every day for 50 years and be fine with it. I know it sounds weird, but you would do that. But there's a big issue when dinner is not being served. And nowadays, here's the thing. Everybody used to have to buy the restaurant to get dinner. Okay? Now, they paying you for samples. And I wish I was making that up. I am not. They will pay you to come take the sample. Okay? Proverbs talks about the strange woman. Okay? That strange woman now, she got change. Come on by. I'll buy you a PlayStation. You know, no problem. I'll fly you in. It's ridiculous. And they're talking to the older brothers and saying, man, I bought the restaurant, man. I can't get dinner. They like, wait a minute, I'm getting dinner free right now. I ain't even got to buy the restaurant. I think I'm going to stay with this deal. I'm going to stay right here. And that becomes a bigger issue. But so are there guys? There are guys just talking noise. So just know that, right? They say whatever online. Say the real deal shows up when they get in my office, right? So men are natural, whatever. You get a good woman. That same dude would be like goo goo gaga over one woman, not wanting to ever leave her, right? Because everything is so good because she did these three things, right? So that guy never had somebody speaking to his life, right? So he's like, I'm gonna get one to satisfy every single thing, right? Have y'all seen the any of the shows where the sister wife shows and hold on? Okay, y'all see how they end up? All of them end up the same way, cause that ain't good. You cannot make two women happy consistently. You can't really make one happy consistently. You want 2, 3, 4? You didn't think this thing through. You think having one wife mad at you, try 4. So anyway, those guys, once again, they're talking noise on one level. But when you find a relationship where somebody's doing this, that guy is not saying that, right? He's just never experienced that. And some of it is just some stuff he heard, but it gets real when it gets into the office. Does that make sense? But with that being said, there are some greedy brothers out there. Don't get me wrong. They're like, wait a minute. Because so the brother that is 6'2", washboard stomach, make $1 million a month, right? Good looking, the whole nine. Well, 95% of women are looking for him. And he's like, I don't have to be nice. I don't have to buy any. I don't even have to look at the property. It literally comes to me. Well, that dude is going to do that. Almost every time. Because remember, he never wanted to buy the restaurant. All right, we ready? Okay. Thank y'all for coming. Appreciate you. Thanks to Miss Rose so much. We're gonna. I'm assuming y'all got books up front. We're gonna do that.
We have books.
Okay.
If they want to purchase the book, come to the front register. We'll get you in position to sign.
Okay. I'm gonna sign all the books. Go to the front register and get it. If you're online and you're looking to buy the book, go to menwanta3piece.com. We'll also sign those as well. menwanta3piece.com. Thank y'all so much.
Donna, I just want to thank everybody for coming out. This was a great and amazing conversation. I would say Dewayne Washington is among a lot of the high-profile people that we have come to this bookstore. We have had a lot of them, and I just want to say that your conversation today and everything that you have done for this community is just truly admirable, and we are honored to host this book signing today. And I will put him up. When I say we have had a lot of great, we was one of 4 locations that did Deion Sanders. And so I'm putting him at that level for the Dallas, for Texas. And we have had Omar Epps, LL Cool J. We have had so many of them that have came to this bookstore in this community. And I want to say the conversation and care and the love that he has for his community is similar to up there with LL Cool J when he said, I just want to be here to love on the people. And I think that's what he's given us today. He's loved on us today. And I want to keep that energy going in the city of Fort Worth. So please, please follow us on social media. Follow Dewayne, because he'll share some of our stuff. And if you can follow the Doc Bookshop, we're on all major platforms. Show us some love, and we're going to continue to bring some of the greatest authors to this area, because we deserve to be the voices or the ears in those rooms that are making major decisions or are part of our culture in a major way. And so I want to keep that going. And again, we have the books back there, and he's probably going to continue to spend time with people as he signs books, because that's the type of person he is. But he cannot spend 30 minutes with everybody, okay?
Okay.
So, again, and if you do not have Ebonyopoly, we have Ebonyopoly at the back. I don't know if everybody got Ebonyopoly, but we do have some Ebonyopoly here. What else do I have? Any more? Okay, what are you going to do for music? We got to have some, there we go. I would have said, let's bring some fans out. I see my sister with the hat. I was going to go find me some fans, and we was going to do that to close it out, but I won't do it.